The use of an air medical helicopter in an emergency setting can present some unique challenges, but for trauma and critically ill medical patients, a call to Carilion Clinic Lifeguard can mean the difference between life and death. Today, EMS and hospital personnel are more likely to work with the air medical crew than ever before. Are you prepared to call for Lifeguard and safely prepare a landing zone, or LZ? Do you know how to prepare your patient for transport by helicopter? Can you work safely around the helicopter once it arrives? We'll answer these questions, among others, throughout this program. Carilion Clinic Lifeguard began as the first air medical program in the state of Virginia back in 1981. Since that time, Carilion Clinic Lifeguard has transported more than 10,000 sick and injured children and adults from hospitals or straight from the scene of the accident or medical emergency. Lifeguard provides critical care treatment and rapid transport to both children and adults, including those with trauma and medical emergencies, burns, and obstetrical emergencies. Over the recent years, there's been an increase in evidence that helicopter transport can make a difference in the outcomes for patients experiencing a myocardial infarction, stroke, and even after cardiac arrest through induced hypothermia. Patients in full cardiopulmonary arrest may also be transported by Lifeguard if that's the best option for the patient. The Lifeguard team will make that decision together with you as a team after landing. Our primary service area is within a 60-mile radius of Westlake, Christiansburg, and Lexington, Virginia for scene responses, and a 150-mile radius for interhospital transfers. These areas include Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, and Tennessee. Lifeguard 10 uses a Eurocopter 145, which has space to accommodate up to 2 patients. It can also transport a neonate patient in a fully equipped isolette with a specialty care neonatal pediatric team. The Lifeguard 10 helicopter has all of the safety equipment as recommended by the National Transportation Safety Board. This twin-engine aircraft is equipped with a terrain avoidance warning system, autopilot, searchlights, an aircraft traffic information system, and a satellite phone. As an additional safety feature, the aircraft sends out automatic positions to our communications center every 30 seconds. Night vision goggles are also used to safely fly at night. Carilion Clinic Lifeguard 11 uses a Eurocopter 135, which has space to accommodate up to 2 patients, or an isolette patient as well. It has all the same safety features as Lifeguard 10. Carilion Clinic Lifeguard 12 also uses a Eurocopter 135 with the identical safety features and patient capabilities as Lifeguard 10 and 11. All 3 aircraft are IFR certified. This means that the pilot may be able to fly under special instrument flight rules if other minimums are met when the cloud ceilings are lower than normal. Being IFR capable can also be an added safety feature for those times when weather changes quickly and unexpectedly. The average cruising speed is 120 to 140 knots, or about 150 miles per hour. The speed of our helicopters reduce response and transport times for patients who are in need of time-saving measures. In addition to reducing transport and out-of-hospital time, the Lifeguard helicopters also provide an extension of the intensive care unit through the skill of the critical care registered nurse and critical care paramedic on board the helicopter. The Lifeguard helicopters can reach remote areas and provide transport when icy roads, traffic congestion, and long transport times can hamper ground transport. When there is a long extrication, we can be en route and on the scene when the patient is extricated. If you think you'll need the Lifeguard helicopter, call as soon as possible. You do not need to have the patient ready before you call. While you're working on the ground or at the outlying hospital to save a life, a Lifeguard helicopter can be en route. If something changes and you no longer need air medical transport, we can divert back to base. Calling for the helicopter sooner rather than later could mean the difference between life, disability, and death. This is true for both scene responses as well as inter-hospital transports. As soon as you think you need the helicopter, call us at 1-888-377-7628. This puts you in touch with a communications specialist in our 24/7 communications center, who then dispatches a helicopter to the scene.
Carilion Clinic Lifeguard, this is Regina. How can I help you?
Hi, this is Dispatcher Sheets with Roanoke County Fire and Rescue. I need to dispatch Lifeguard 10 for an accident with injuries on Catawba Road.
Our aim is to get the helicopter launched as soon and as safely as possible for you. With your initial request, please be prepared to provide our dispatcher the hospital or general location for scene responses, the nature of the call, the number of patients, and your best estimate of the patient weight.
Yes, they are available. Can you hold for just a moment so I can tone the pilot to check weather? Thank you. Lifeguard 10, you have a go request for a scene response.
This is Tim.
I have a go request for Roanoke County.
Checking weather now for that. Okay, the weather is good for that. We'll be lifting here momentarily.
Ma'am. Okay, the pilot has accepted the flight. It will take him about 5 minutes to lift and then about 6 minutes to get to you guys. While he's lifting, can I get some more additional information from you?
Okay, thank you. Let me let the scene commander know that you all are going to be lifting off and en route. Cadaba Command Control.
LZ Command, go ahead.
Sir, lifeguard is available. Their ETA is approximately 11 minutes.
When we return to you with the pilot's decision, we will get some additional information from you. This allows us to get the helicopter en route to you as quickly as possible. Once we have the pilot decision to you, we will take any additional information you have, such as radio frequency and coordinates for the scene response, and any additional patient information. Patient information is helpful but not necessary, since we have everything we need at all times.
All right, to confirm the information that I have on this accident, it's a single vehicle accident. I have 2 patients and 1 that might need transport via lifeguard. I don't really have any information on the status or the extent of injury because of the extrication, but you'll be landing in a ball field right beside the accident scene. The coordinates are north 3721.75.
The process is essentially the same for inter-hospital requests, except we will need to know your destination up front. If you do not have an accepting physician at the time of your request for lifeguard, but you know you need to transfer the patient to Carilion Clinic, we can help you with making those arrangements with one phone call. First, we will get the pilot's decision so that we can get the helicopter in the air while we work on those arrangements for you. For inter-hospital transports, we do not need a radio frequency or coordinates, since we will be landing on your helipad or designated LZ. But we do ask that you notify your security of our ETA so that they can ensure our safe landing. It is important to mention here that if the patient is on an intra-aortic balloon pump, we will need to know that prior to liftoff. Keep in mind that although we are IFR certified, we're still unable to operate in thunderstorms, icy conditions, or fog. Our pilots routinely monitor the weather, and we will accept or turn down a flight based on the current forecasted weather between your location and the receiving facility. If there is a question as to whether we will fly, call and we will inform you of the decision. If we cannot fly because of weather, we will be proactive and notify surrounding medevac agencies. While it is possible that another helicopter may be able to accept the flight if their different route provides better weather, we want to make sure all other local helicopters are aware of our findings. We consider this our responsibility and take it very seriously. If you choose to call other helicopter programs yourself, we only ask that you make sure that the other programs know that we've already turned it down so that a pilot-to-pilot conversation can take place if necessary. Safety is our #1 priority, whether or not we can do the flight ourselves. For scene responses, it's always a good idea to place someone in charge of radio traffic. Once we are en route, we'll contact you via radio for more information about potential hazards or additional patient needs.
All right, Roanoke County Landing Zone Command, Lifeguard 10, can you copy?
LZ Command, go ahead.
Yes, sir, we're showing about a 4-minute ETA from the coordinates you gave us. If you wouldn't mind, can you give us some information about the landing zone?
For hospitals, you can expect our comm center to contact you with our updated ETA once we have lifted. In addition to the EMS personnel providing medical care on scene, there are 2 additional important roles for the on-scene request: the LZ Commander and the tail rotor guard. The LZ Commander will have the responsibility of setting up a safe landing zone. We require an area which is 100 feet by 100 feet during the day and somewhat larger at night. The LZ should be clear of all obstructions such as people, vehicles, trees, poles, and wires. We cannot see wires very well from the air, so please tell us about any wires in the area. This includes wires not only around the perimeter of the LZ, but also any wires we might encounter further out on our approach. Keep in mind that we could approach from any direction, depending on the direction of the wind. Wires can be especially difficult to see at night. We'll use our night vision goggles to look for clues that there are wires in the area by looking for poles. Here you can see the difference night vision goggles can make. Notice how we can see the poles, trees, and other hazards with the night vision goggles, but not without. Notice also how bright the white lights are with night vision goggles. While white lights are a help without night vision goggles, they're actually a hazard when night vision goggles are in use. Remember that the LZ must be level or with a very slight slope. When assisting the helicopter with landing, position 3 emergency vehicles in a triangle 150 feet apart. This is about 60 paces. The helicopter will land in the center of the triangle form. This triangle can be used at night as well, using any vehicle that has flashing red lights on top. Since lifeguard helicopters use night vision goggles now, white lights are not only not needed, they're also highly discouraged. Strobes from a purchased LZ kit are fine, but not necessary. Please just make sure they're not the white lights. It is also helpful if you nose in the ambulance, so that when the ambulance doors open, the pilot's night vision will not be an issue. Please do not use flares or any other flammable materials around the helicopter. We also request that there's no smoking within 100 feet of the aircraft. Communicating with the pilot and the medical crew on board the helicopter is extremely helpful, and in most cases mandatory. Ground-to-air communication should be established as soon as possible. While in flight, Carilion Clinic Lifeguard can monitor any VHF, FM, UHF, or VLO frequency. We also have some 800 radio capability.
Copy, Lifeguard 10. You'll be landing at the Merriman Soccer Complex. You have power lines running parallel with Merriman Road. You have an engine sitting underneath those lines. We have a staff vehicle under other lines that are running parallel with the field. You'll land between two soccer goals. We have a triangulation of all of our units towards the soccer field.
That's a good copy for Lifeguard 10. If you don't mind, let us know when you do have a visual on us.
Keep in mind that if the pilot sees a more appropriate LZ, he may choose to land there instead. He will communicate this to you via radio. This is rare, but something you should be prepared for. When the helicopter has landed, please do not approach the aircraft. For scene responses, the medical crew will come out and assign someone the role of tail rotor guard. It is this person's responsibility to ensure the safety of everyone on scene, making sure no one gets near the turning rotors. Remember that hospitals may also request that we do a hot load if time is of the essence for the patient. So these safety rules may apply to you as well. If Lifeguard is able to do a hot load for your patient, we ask that you either stay in the emergency department or in an ambulance at the helipad. Please do not have the patient outside on a stretcher. It is also important that the nurse or physician stay with the patient until patient care is turned over to the flight crew. Whether it is a scene response or inter-hospital, it is helpful for the medical crew to know the mechanism of injury or history of present illness, treatment done, status of the patient, and how many patients were involved. Our assessment will be as brief as possible. There are a few things that we'd like to have done before we arrive, if you have the time. These preparations benefit the patient and allow us to keep our scene time to a minimum. However, if you do not have time to immobilize the trauma patient or start IVs, we can assist you with this once we get there. Our goal is to work together as a team to get the patient to the destination hospital as quickly as possible. Once we receive a brief report and perform a patient assessment, we will proceed to the helicopter with the patient. We would like the help of no more than 4 additional people, 1 person on each corner of the backboard. Usually, the helicopter will still be running. This is what we call a hot load. We always head towards the front of the aircraft, walking, not running. One of the crew members will direct everyone towards the helicopter. At this time, everything must be secured or removed. This means all baseball caps must be removed, sheets, blankets, and wraps, all must be secured or removed. Lay any equipment, such as IVs, down on the patient. Never hold anything above your head. As you approach the helicopter, duck down slightly when you reach the outside diameter of the blades. They are the lowest at this point. Once you come up under the aircraft, you can stand up again. The patient will be loaded into the aircraft head first through the rear clamshell doors. A flight crew member will try to position his or herself at a point behind you to protect you from backing up out of the safety zone. Please let the medical crew handle the doors. If a door locks up, we will be grounded until it is repaired, making us unable to transport the patient. Once the patient is in, the flight crew will partially escort you as you exit away from the aircraft towards the front, walking in a crouched position. As you exit, please look for anything that may present a potential danger. If you see anything that looks like it may interfere with our safety, please notify us by radio or motion to the pilot or medical crew. 1 crew member will always walk around the helicopter to check things out just prior to liftoff. Please maintain your LZ command for a minute or 2 after we take off. In the event of an emergency, this will likely be the ideal place for us to safely land. To summarize our safety briefing around the helicopter, we'll go over the major safety rules again. Assign at least 2 people exclusively for LZ security. 1 person should assume the overall responsibility as the LZ commander. We will assign someone the role of tail rotor guard after landing. Never shine a light of any kind towards the helicopter. Keep crowds back at least 200 feet. Keep all smoking materials and flares away from the aircraft. Secure any loose equipment, including blankets and sheets. Do not approach the helicopter except under the direction of the flight crew. Keep items low. Hold nothing above your head. Do not go past the rear doors of the helicopter. The flight team is responsible for loading and unloading equipment. The flight team will also direct loading and unloading patients. Never assist crew with opening and closing the aircraft doors, and please do not run towards or away from the helicopter. Since Carilion Clinic Lifeguard has been in operation, we have maintained an exemplary safety record. We rely upon all of you to help us maintain that record. Once en route, we will continue the care that you've initiated for the patient. The medical crew will utilize their critical care protocols to ensure that the patient receives the most advanced treatment possible, even before they arrive at the receiving facility. We understand that you'll be interested in the outcome of your patient and the flight. Once we've turned over patient care, we will call the AIC, or sending facility, back to let you know how the patient did during the flight. We also send a more formal letter to you to let you know about your patient's definitive diagnosis and final disposition. Of course, if you have any questions in the meantime, please do not hesitate to call our communications center at any time so that they can get you connected to the right person to answer your question. Thank you for trusting us to provide the critical care transport for your patients.